All right. And now I welcome on two-time NCAA champion and also fresh off of a 12:59:89 less than 12 hours ago, I feel like it. Graham Blanks. Graham, I guess first off, how's the hangover? I know you had big plans after this race to celebrate both the cross country race, this one, the dry season for Harvard extended, I think, into this, first weekend in December.
Yeah, not good. But got some food and some water in me and yeah, back to reality, back to school. So, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here today with you.
All right. Well, let's not bury the lead. The big news. You've decided to forego the remainder of your NCAA eligibility, turn pro, sign with New Balance. So, first off, congratulations. And how did we arrive at this decision?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to come back for cross country. Uh and uh that was just kind of like my main goal. I really just wanted to come run for the cross country team one more time. And I felt like at this point in my career, I'm kind of, getting a little bit older, not recognizing as many people's faces around in meets and stuff. So um, I figured that maybe it was kind of time to move on, and especially after going to the Olympics. I just felt like it was time to start focusing on the bigger stuff. To just start focusing on the bigger meets, get off the NCAA schedule, and just kind of like really get ready for like world champs this summer, and stuff like that. And I definitely don't feel like I accomplished everything I wanted to like on the track in the NCAA, but it's just something I'm willing to move on with.
Was it always sort of only cross and one more like race, or did that also just sort of evolve? And did anyone have any different opinions?
Yeah, I mean, we mostly thought like it would be it would be good to I mean, I think this was kind of like the thought originally was to just basically do cross country and then the indoor meet, just because the indoor meet is so it's so much fun, and it's like it's good for you know qualifying with like to getting the world standard and stuff like that. Um and it's just with with also with just like it ending like on the year. So like I
Yeah.
think that makes things simpler with however, professional stuff works, like just like being able to move on at the like actual year. Um but yeah, like for indoors and outdoors, I don't think we ever really were, after the Olympics and stuff. I mean, I don't really think we were looking that far ahead, but I certainly had like some discussions with Gibby about it. But kind of like in the back of my head after the Olympics, so I was like, okay, like this is like, I mean, in reality, the more the conversation was like, am I coming back for cross country? Um, which for me was absolutely, but yeah, I think track the outdoor and indoor season was kind of off the table by after this summer.
So this cross country season, Ivy League team title, evaded Harvard. But other than that, I guess, was it everything you wanted to accomplish this the cross country season?
I think so. I mean, didn't like reach that one team goal, and that's all right. But I mean, my main goal is just to. Uh, I wasn't as really that goal oriented. Like I just kind of wanted to come back and like do it one more time, like selfishly, because I came here to run on a team, and I came here to run for Harvard, and I loved the cross country aspect of it, like ever since I was a first year. So I really wanted to do it one more time. Like I would have been really sad if I was still going to school here and I wasn't able to like participate in the season and stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would say like definitely got everything out of that season that I wanted, along with some like good individual results, and stuff like that.
We'll do a little bit of reflecting on your Harvard career all throughout, but let's get into a couple specifics on like, after, pen to paper on the contract, you're a pro. What exactly does this mean? Sticking with Coach Gibby, like not moving from Boston. What are sort of the early plans right now?
Yeah, I mean, so thankfully I have a lot of time to decide because as of now, I'm stuck in Boston because I'm still, going to school. I still have one more semester. Um, so basically right now nothing for me is gonna really change. Like I'm still gonna be going to school here, living in the dorms, training with the team, and I mean not much is gonna change. And in that sense, Gibby's still coaching me, and we're just gonna, since this is what I'm used to and what I'm comfortable with, that's the plan is to keep sticking with this throughout the rest of the year, all the way to hopefully September. Um, yeah, and then from there, I do plan on staying with Gibby, and then kind of figuring out where exactly I want to be located. Um, Definitely plan on like incorporating altitude in some fashion into my training, whether that's like full time or or long stints. Uh, but yeah, thankfully right now I New Balance has kind of empowered me to feel like I have a lot of freedom in those choices. So basically, just going to try to figure out what works best for me, and I kind of have from now about 4 years to make sure like everything's perfect before the next Olympics.
Are you hoping that this is a bit more of an investment from New Balance on the men's side for sure when it comes to, you know, obviously for many years now, they've had a really strong roster of women, a handful of men that they've sponsored, some in the sprint, couple distance here or there, but you're sort of going to be like their biggest marquee signing in recent history. Was it part of the conversations maybe with the brand? I know you've it's an easy transition with the NIL deal to just go directly to them as a pro, but was that something that maybe came up in discussions of just sort of like, all right, is there also going to be an investment in potential training partners for you or anything?
No, I mean it wasn't something I was super concerned about or anything. If anything, the fact that I'm like the way you're describing me is like a big like male signing, like that was something that what was attractive to me just because it just means they believe in me and they want to help support me. I've definitely already felt extremely supported by New Balance. Like just the past like year, they've really taken care of me and my friends and my family. And um, it wasn't really that much in the conversation about like finding training partners and stuff like that, like that are signed with New Balance. Uh, I definitely plan on like hopefully collaborating, if that's the word, with other athletes in the future. Thankfully I'll have for this part of my career, I'll still have a lot of people here at Harvard to train with while I'm in Boston, and then yeah, we'll kind of see where I'm at. Really just depends where I'm at and who I'm surrounded with for who I'll be able to train with.
Yeah, even sometimes like that flexibility is the best thing to have in your back pocket of like, hey, like I'm not necessarily tied to a group. I can go, and do an altitude camp in Utah, jump in with workouts with, Grant, who's doing a lot of things solo or whatever it might be. That element of altitude, I guess if I'm thinking about it right now, were you the only distance guy who made Team USA who wasn't based at altitude last year? Like, and you're someone who spent, that pandemic year training there. What are some of the benefits that you saw, from altitude stints in the past that you're hoping, will elevate you as a pro now?
Yeah, I mean, I've altitude has never failed me. Like I've been like two or three times, I believe. Actually, a few times because I went before the Olympics for a little bit, just like 3 weeks in Switzerland. But otherwise, like yeah, I've seen like very massive jumps after using altitude. Granted, that was like, earlier on in my college career when I was less developed, so like some of those jumps were bound to happen. Um, but the prospect of being able to like go back to altitude and try to, get those jumps again is definitely enticing. It's exciting. Like, so it's definitely something I plan on doing. Like, um, when I took a gap year um, between high school and college, me and my teammates, like we went out to Flagstaff, and I ended up dropping like that year from like a 9 flat 3200 to like a 1327 5K, which was like ridiculous. And then like after my I think after my freshman year of college, went back to altitude and then jumped from 23rd in NCAA's to sixth. So like I think like the times I've used altitude, things have kind of clicked, and I don't know whether it's like a strictly scientific thing, or if it's just kind of being up there in the thin air, like getting to run on dirt roads. Um, Something about that just makes kind of like training easier, I feel like, or like it makes it more feel more bit business like.
You were in St. Moritz, I guess, in the build up to the Olympics, and you got to spend a bunch of time around the on athletics club guys. What did you observe, I guess, about, that's, and you've been exposed to pros in the past as well, but I mean, that's the pro life. You got a glimpse of it. It's just like training, long training session days, a lot of laying around and time in between. You have to fill times with, that time with hobbies. Like, was there anything that stood out to you? You're like, okay, I'm, one more season of cross, but then I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, like definitely like honestly for me it's just kind of like with school like I just feel
Yeah, you
kind
don't
of
get that free time yet.
no, exactly. So like I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm ready for exactly. I don't get that free time yet, but like yeah, when I'm out of school, like I think it'll be nice to have things slow down a little bit more. It's a uh college can be very like stressful, and like you always have stuff to do. Like, when you get something done, there's always something else that needs to get it done. So yeah, I am excited for that initial like slowdown. Just to be able to kind of take your time with training, like kind of make sure everything is set up for training. Um, but yeah, then after that, that's something that actually like is like was something that kind of like that scares me about professional running is like how much time you have um, to do nothing, which is it's a necessary condition, because if you're a runner, you have to recover. You have to can't just be doing stuff all day. But um, that's something I've definitely been thinking about, how I want to use my time, if I want to continue doing other things on the side, because I've definitely felt like having school here at Harvard is actually, I think it's helped me be a better athlete, just kind of keeping my mind occupied away from running, or like, if things aren't going well with running, like at least I still have school to kind of like fall back on and like work on and stuff like that. So I would love to kind of have that complement, when I'm running professionally.
Because it was, I guess, the postseason right after the trials and between the Olympics. Was that really like a good period of time for you to? It's so complicated with NIL, and when you're signed to an NIL deal with a brand that doesn't sponsor your school, there's times when you have to wear the school sponsored product, and there's times when you can wear what your NIL sponsor is. In that time period, you weren't bound, I guess, to the school rules. Was that a time for you to really get to know a lot of the New Balance products? And like, what's your go-to rotation right now when it comes to training in them? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, are you actually probably like, these easy runs, quote unquote easy, that you guys do? Are you running these 6 minute miles or 6:30 miles, whatever it is, in 1080s, every single day? What's your rotation?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, like with the spikes, I really loved. these spikes they had, like they were the LDX, like there are these white spikes I wore for like all my races. Unfortunately, the stack height on those are a little too high now for like world athletic standards. Like they changed something, so had to switch to the mid D spike, which is just as good. But I
Which is
really like
everyone uses that. It's kind of crazy where it's like,
the
is
mid
it
D.
Quincy Wilson? Like I think races in that, and like Gabby Thomas and Elliot St. Pierre wearing the same exact
Yeah,
spike. It's
isn't that odd?
bananas.
Yeah, it's a good spike. So it obviously feels fast. If sprinters are using it. But yeah, for the shoes, I'm like honestly not super picky. Like I've gone through a lot of different ones. Um, I've used the Vongos a lot this fall and like the past year. I don't know why I picked those. Like I kind of just like a basic like just a basic like shoe that just kind of feels a little heavier on your foot than like for example the 1080. Um, but then yeah, I would also have a pair of 1080s when I felt really crappy, and I would throw those on. It would make it really fun. Um, but recently I picked up a pair of they're called the Balos. Have you heard of
Yeah,
those?
yeah.
Those are unreal. Those don't have a carbon fiber plate in them, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good, because it feels like it. I was worried there was one in there. That shoe, I mean, is it's perfect. I mean, it's and for my training in particular, so perfect because they feel so fast. Um, and doing the maintenance pace stuff, like it feels good on those. I almost wanted to work out in them. I might try eventually, but we'll see. I normally use the Rebels for like tempos. Um, but yeah, those ballos feel great, man.
Yeah, when
I'm
are
really
you
happy with them.
a super shoe guy for, is it workouts? Is it any longer stuff? Like how do you approach when to put them on?
Pretty much like never. Like I mean like never. I pretty much never wear super shoes in training. Uh, like other than the spikes, of course. Like I use the spikes for whenever I'm wearing spikes. In terms of super shoes, like I can count on one finger probably the amount of times like I've used those in season, which are a very niche situation where we're like,
Was it Buffalo, like that regionals meet, or no, for cross, the one
oh
that
yeah,
was on the
like
road?
I did use them in a race like when we were at Van Cortlandt Park because
Yeah.
their 10K course is just like mostly on crushed gravel. So I was like, me and my teammates were like, we're not gonna like destroy ourselves for these. Uh, so like yeah, use them for like races where you're just kind of trying to go through the motions, and then if for some reason we're like at a workout spot, probably during cross country season where um we're like there's no track and like we're doing grass reps, and then for some reason Gibby wants us to do like a hard rep on the roads, we bring super shoes, and that happened like once this year, probably like once last year. So like I never break out super shoes, so I can't really speak on those.
Yeah, you're gonna be in for a surprise, I guess, when you finally get to race in them on the roads. But your roads days are still way ahead of you. I remember I did listen to the Let's Run podcast where they were trying to convince you to do the Houston half or just hit the half marathon sooner rather than later. For you, the focus between now and LA, obviously, I think just gonna stay on 5K, 10K, right?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I want to stay competitive in those distances as long as I can.
Yeah. All right. So as we look back at your career at Harvard, it's also just sort of you were at this time where the program is just totally elevated. I think I saw it noted somewhere that the 5K record before you got there was 13:42 from 2014 by Maxim Korlev, a guy who always looked like he was in pain from the start of the race all the way through the finish. Uh, what has changed sort of in the team culture, under Gibby over the last couple of years that you've seen? It's not just you, the heat right after you. I think you had Brosnan racing and he's having a strong year as well. So what's changed in the team culture?
Man, I don't know because I can't. I mean, I can't speak on like what the team culture was like previously. Like, I'm sure like those guys were like on with Korlev and before Korlev were like just as committed and just as driven as the rest of us. of course we have, you know, fast spikes now, which, you know,
That
helps you take
helps.
down records, but like we've definitely taken like a really, really big jump. Um, so I think, you know, we've gotten in some ways like a little lucky with like personnel like on the team. Like we've had some really good runners come through. You know, we also have Coach Gibby now, who I think's a really good coach, and you know, maybe you can attribute you can I mean you can definitely attribute, you know, all those faster times to him because, you know, now that, for example, if you're just looking at the 5K record board, like those are probably mostly all Gibby now, like in the top 10. I don't know how many people that aren't in the top 10 are non-Gibby coached other than maybe like Korlev and like James Likos. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely like in my time here, we've become maybe more performance oriented. Like we've, at least in cross country, like we've really focused on like, you know, trying to be better as a team, like at the NCAA level. Um, you know, whether that's, you know, being, you know, more committed in training or just like, you know, racing, like just really trying to push ourselves to be the best. Like, and you see that too, like with the recruiting classes we bring in now. So like, you know, we're bringing in really good recruiting classes, and um, you know, those things slowly start to change like a school, a program, and how it looks and how it performs. So I am looking forward to like seeing what happens like the next 4 years while I'm gone. So I definitely think Harvard will continue to get better.
How does fun fit into the whole picture? Because it's like I'll be scrolling on TikTok and then occasionally I'll come across a video of like the Harvard team doing something super silly, and you guys are just totally okay with not Harvard obviously with the Ivy League and the school name and all that kind of stuff. You could just think of it as like, all right, like geeks and nerds, but not really. Like you guys are clearly having fun while doing all of this, where that's a whole sort of element of this team as well.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't take ourselves like that serious, you know. That was probably Shane Brosnan's TikTok. I don't
It
know.
is,
He's a
yeah.
big TikToker, so he likes to pull that thing out. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely personally had a whole bunch of fun the past 4 years, and I think the main thing is like the reason it's so easy to have fun is like I mean, we're just so excited to like just to be here. Like, I mean, when I was in high school, like I remember when I committed here, like I mean, man, I couldn't wait. Like I had my head in the clouds. Like I wanted to be a part of the program so bad. And also to be able to go to a school like Harvard, like I'm just so grateful to that fact. So like how can it not, you know, not be fun? Like I think we all agree that we feel like very lucky that we're able to go to a school like this, um, while also not really sacrificing our athletics. Like we were still able to do that at the Division 1 level, at like in a national class level. Um, so yeah, it has been a lot of fun, and you know, being a part of this program was a ton of fun.
Can we pull up that memory sort of from your, probably subconscious at this point of, the Gibby either recruiting call or visit where maybe he pitched you on the program and you shared what your vision and goals are. And now that, you're sticking with them and there's still a lot of unfinished business now as a pro, but for the collegiate chapter, did you guys check all the boxes and did it match up to what you guys discussed in that first meeting?
Yeah, I think definitely far and beyond whatever we discussed. I mean, I personally um thought I could be pretty good, but yeah, we certainly checked all those boxes. I mean, um I think though, like thinking just talking about the recruiting call though, like the one thing that made me really want to go here was like Gibby talking about the training we do here. Because like I really just wanted to like to train hard and like maximize my potential, and like I felt like that's kind of what he was offering to me, was just to let me um do some hard training. Like that's really what I was yearning for. And that's kind of like what ended up making me make the decision to go to Harvard. Um, but yeah, I mean, after you know, sitting down, honestly can't remember like what freshman Graham like said he wanted to do. I think at that point I was probably just focused on like trying to win like a Heps title or something. And then we would go from there. So it's definitely been like a lot of stepping stones all the way, but I got super lucky to have a lot of talented teammates who kind of paved the way for me and like showed me what was possible. Um, but yeah, definitely achieved more than I think we bargained for.
Last night was essentially like the last part of the final chapter in your Harvard career. So let's unpack sort of the night because it was super special. First off, with when it comes to attire, you just wore the Harvard singlet with Harvard spelled out across the chest. I'm assuming the black singlet is in Hapham Samuel's hands, and the other one that you wore, I guess the crimson one with the H, that one was somewhere else. What was there a conscious decision between for picking the one with Harvard written across your chest?
No, so I wish there was a cooler story for this, but for some reason our athletic department decided to like switch our crimson and white jerseys to just say Harvard across. And I think it's because they're trying to like um, make all the uniforms of all the sports here have like the same look. So I think all most people's home and away uniforms look like that. But thankfully they did give us the concession of like having the black uniform with the H on it, which is it's our favorite and which Hampton has. But I did ask the equipment manager to slip me an extra one, just because I wanted to have one. So I have a fresh one. But yeah, definitely wanted the decision was between, wearing red, white, or black. Um, and it was always going to be red, just because that's kind of like our home colors. And um, black, we save those for the big moments like NCAAs and stuff. So um, yeah, and I do kind of like the Harvard spelled across the chest. It looks all right. I didn't like it at first because, I was like, why are we switching things up my senior year? But it looks pretty good in pictures and stuff.
Morning of, and even just sort of you're hanging at your dorm room, apartment, whatever it might be, fairly chill day, or does it feel any bit emotional knowing this is the last one?
No, I mean it was a pretty chill day, and like in terms of like what the day looks like for that meet, like I've done it the past 3 years, and it's a little bit odd because the 5K is the last day, and then at this point at Harvard, like we're out of classes, we're in reading period, so you have a lot of homework to do and like no class. So like what happens is I just sit in here in my room and do homework and then like get notifications that like people are running crazy times like all day, in the mile, the 3K, like the K. Um, so it's a bit of a weird day. Wasn't super emotional. I was just kind of ready to go out there and race. Um, Thankfully, we had I had one previous teammate and one teammate also running the race. So like Shane, um, he came over and we played some Fortnite for a little bit before we left. And then also Acer is around, and he is he's at UW now, but because he's not enrolled in classes yet, he's like not technically like on the team yet, so he had to run the race unattached, and presumably like he had to travel and pay for everything himself, so he's just staying in our dorm with us. So I was just like hanging out with them yesterday, and yeah, it was a good time. But never. I honestly like I haven't got too emotional about anything because I just feel like it's time. It's time to move on to bigger adventures.
All right, so let's break down the race execution with something like this where, it was essentially a time trial, but also featured some of the top other collegian athletes. Usually it's about just shutting the brain off, letting the pacer do a lot of the work early on and settling in. The pacer drops out with about a mile to go, And then at that point, you've already got a little bit of a gap on the field. What are you telling yourself for that final mile?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of just like looking at the clock and stuff, like just making sure we were on everything, and it seems like uh Pacer did a great job of keeping us there. But uh, talking back with Gibby about the race, I think I did make a little bit of a mistake. I was still in my cross country mindset, and like when the Pacer went off, I could hear a couple people on my shoulder. I think it was probably like uh Brian Masal and like Liam Murphy. And so like, me as like a competitor, I threw in a pretty hard surge right after the Pacers stepped off.
And the crowd
Opened
got
up.
loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I started going a little too hard. Uh but I was kind of doing that as like in terms of like the race, like I wanted to win. And that kind of came back and bit me a little bit because I was hurting a lot the last bit. But yeah, I mean, I was just kind of like the whole race, just like you said, like sitting behind the pacer, just like chomping at the bit. Like I was just ready to go and like try to run faster than the pace. But something I've learned also is like when you're running these like trying to run these really fast times is like you're gonna feel good the first 2 or 3K and think you're invincible, but like it always catches back up to you. Like so by the end, like I was in full time trial mode, like just trying to get to the line.
Yeah, I compared the splits. You were a hair faster than Nico Young all the way through 4K. And then in the last K is where it did start to get a little bit hard. You've got people defending you online about, having to weave past some of the lap competitors. The goal was world championship standard, but obviously like the NCAA record was also sort of like within reach, right? Like when it came to just assessing what success looked like on the day, you've got every reason to be happy. You check the box, but was that sort of how you approach it? Is like if the NCAA record happens, then great, but the goal is the standard.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is the standard, but I wanted to run like as fast as possible. Like I mean, part of the reason I still wanted to run in that race in Harvard uniform was if I were to set the collegiate record, it would be a collegiate record. Um, but yeah, I mean, like sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here.
Was the weaving frustrating?
No, because like because I mean like I get it, like it just happened. Like I wasn't too frustrated afterwards, and like people apologized. I didn't really have to weave all that much except for that one time going around the bend. Um but it really didn't matter because like I knew at that point like I was going to get under the world standard, and that's kind of like all I really wanted to do and to get that done. Um and I think I should have been able to close faster. Like I do think I should have been able to maybe run under the collegiate record, and due to like some maybe mistakes, like running a little harder in the middle, and or maybe just like not being willing to dig deep enough um at the end, I wasn't able to get down under like 12:57. uh but that's okay. Like I'm still a work in progress, things to work on. And so like ultimately super happy that I was able to like it was closer than I thought uh to get under that 13:01. So like it's a hard thing to do, and to knock it out already, like now that really simplifies my life, and like I can just really focus on like training and racing, like no, not time trialing, getting ready for like the US champs, like whenever that is, like really far out in the summer.
100% all effort, empty tank last night when you crossed the finish line. That's what it looked like and seemed because the celebration wasn't immediate. You hit the ground and it took a moment for you to get back up.
Yeah, no, it was tough. I mean, it was really tough. Like I kept like I kept telling myself, like looking at the clock, like okay, it looks like all I'm gonna need is like a 2:30 here, and I'll run like 12:55. And it's like in my head I'm like, oh, let's do that. Like that's easy. Like 2:30, that happens naturally, like in racing environments. But at that point of the race, it wasn't really a racing environment. It was just like all out, like trying to get there. So yeah, it ended up being a lot harder than I thought, and uh definitely emptied the tank, as you saw at the end there.
when you did get back up on your feet, it was an immediate sort of celebration with the crowd, high-fiving people, taking a little bit of a victory lap. The year before, you had the bow, no bow this time. But what was sort of, the thought there when it came to just like soaking in the moment with, the people who were there? Because a lot of people turned out for that race.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Just soaking it all in, or taking it all in. And yeah, just like interacting with the crowd. Like, if you're a track fan and you're in the Northeast, like best place to go is BU because there are no security measures whatsoever. Like you can literally just walk anywhere. You can go up to people, after the races and stuff and talk to them. So, yeah, really wanted to like kind of engage with that aspect of it. Um, because that's kind of the best part about BU is just how it's small, lots of people come out. You can just it's just yeah, it's always a good time.
You had a chance to talk about the race briefly, I guess, with Coach Gibby. Aside from just sort of that push as soon as the pacer dropped off, were there any other little areas of improvement that he pointed out, or was it just sort of like, hey, you've got plenty to be proud of? He had that Pepsi in his hand the whole entire race and was just yelling at you right next to the bell.
Yeah, I mean he's always drinking that Pepsi Max. So that bad habit of his.
He
Not
needs to
sure
switch to
that.
Olipop. That's what he's got
Yeah,
down.
okay, yeah, that'll be better for his bowels, I think. So, uh, but yeah, I mean he was just there, kind of giving me the making sure like I was on pace and stuff. Just letting me know kind of what to do. I mean that's a lot of instruction. It's 25 laps, so. Uh, I think we were very happy with the result. So like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's always places to improve, but yeah, very, very happy to get under 13 and like, especially in that type of race where I kind of had to take that long pull, like 8 laps out maybe or something. Uh, I think we were both pretty happy with how it turned out.
What are some of the biggest things that now, looking back a year later, right? Like last year, you had the race, and then shortly thereafter, got hurt, forced this long comeback. It ends up being, successful because you come back into fitness at the right time, make the U.S. Olympic team. But is there a bit of cautiousness or lessons that you took away from that big effort and then the weeks that followed so that you're able to, like, all right, let's avoid that going into 2025?
Yeah, I mean, maybe like, I don't know, like maybe I'm just gonna take this break even more chill. Like maybe I just didn't recover enough or like really allow my body enough time to like reset. And I'll definitely be a lot more cautious coming back into like the season. But honestly the main thing is it's gonna really help out this year is that I'm not on the NCAA schedule, which can be very brutal for like a number of reasons. Like the main one is like coming back from cross country is like now that we extend cross country by 2 weeks to run this 5K, and then you got to immediately, after your break, like get the mileage back up because all of a sudden like conference championships are like a month and a half out, like, and you just have to be ready to go. And not only that, you have to come back and do that in like the cold of Boston. So like that was certainly, I think, probably the thing that like put me at risk the most for injury. And thankfully this year we can take it a little bit easier. Maybe even stay off the banks a little bit. So because the banks of the track can sometimes get your body a little wonky.
Yeah. So in the last 12 months, like there's been personal bests, there's been national titles, but I wonder, like, is there a big part of you that the element that you're most proud of is that rally from that injury to make the U.S. Olympic team, go on to Paris and finish ninth? Like, what do you think was the biggest thing in that span of time that you're most proud of how you executed that? Because for a lot of athletes, like that would have thrown people off. Like the adversity of injury in the highest stakes year that you have lined up, and if it goes wrong and sideways one time, it would just ruin the rest of the year. But you managed to be somewhat patient throughout the whole process, show up to the trials, surprise a lot of people, finish fourth. The rankings work in your favor. You make the team. You go on to prove that you deserve to be on the team by taking ninth at the Olympics. Like there's just so it's that result is just the outcome of that whole process, which, when we saw you in March at New Balance Nationals, like it was still sort of an uncertain period of what your year would look like.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely like proud of how I just kind of embraced it. Like shit happens, like, you get injured, whatever. Uh, and I was definitely most proud of like, uh, I mean, the training, the cross training I did. Like, I just tried to do stuff that, that gave me like dignity. It made me feel like I was working hard, even though, cross training is never a perfect substitute for running. So, I worked really hard for those like that extended period of time where I was off my feet. And it wasn't fun. And a lot of the times I wasn't motivated to do it. But I kind of just like did it anyways. And then um yeah, I think somehow I was able to be patient. And it was easier to be patient because, I had just won an NCAA title and like for cross country, like I mean, I was like so happy with that. Like I could have ended there and been happy with it. So that kind of let me be like, okay, like I could chill for now. Like let's reset. Like let's get healthy. Um, and yeah, it was definitely a long road back to that, but I think we just hit the timing right where I was able to, keep stacking weeks and eventually, get back on the line and stuff for trials in the Olympics.
Not to dramatize it, but is there a cross training session that you remember where you're just like, I don't know, in a pool of sweat and it's tough and you're in the pool or whatever it might be that you're just like, why am I doing this? And is this all going to, pan out? Like, was there one of those deep head, like hard hitting sessions?
Yeah, honestly, no, it was like one of the hardest spots, like rock bottom was like, like 2 or 3 weeks into everything, and like we're just adding back in like PT exercises, and like there's this one thing I was supposed to do like with my leg, like some banded thing, and like I just couldn't do it. Like I was just like it was like this simple exercise, and I was just like, oh, I just can't do this right now. And like that was kind of like that was where I was like, damn, like this is pretty tough because like I've still got a ways to go. So like yeah, I'll probably not forget that moment in the training room, like just like trying to do these basic physical like rehab exercises. Uh, but I had to remain steadfast, like and I had to do it without the motivation a lot of the times. But yeah, I'm proud of how I kind of stuck with the program and then got back.
One of the funniest things you said after you won in Madison was something along the lines of, like, I'm just happy I could win this race before it gets even more competitive. And similarly, after last night, like the 5K is only like we had Brian Massau and Liam Murphy both running top 10 all time performances. The level of talent is so deep right now. You're getting out, you're like, all right, I'm second all time, I'm out. Where do you see the 5K going, at the NCAA level?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like you're talking about the collegiate record stuff. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that'll be gone. If I were to set a collegiate record last night, that'll be gone in a month. So like, it would have been
That's
cool
what
to
happened
have it
last time.
exactly. Like it's just records will continue to fall like and stuff like that. I mean, it's yeah, people are getting better, and it's definitely an exciting time. Definitely do think I'm getting out at the right time. But I will miss like kind of having that that competition so often. Like I think it's made turned me into such a better athlete. So like I want to somehow keep that like in the professional realm. Like I would love to continue to like race at such a high frequency like NCAA's, which is something I think really benefits us, especially like when we NCAA athletes move on to like a global stage where you're just kind of like you're bad already, like you're marred in dust, like you're ready to go. And the NCAA, personally, I feel like it's okay to lose often, and it's okay to like have bad races, because there's so many and you can learn so much. And then like when the big moments come, that's kind of when you apply all of that. And definitely like with all the competition that continues to get better, and like the NCAA, like people are just going to get better, records are going to fall. Hopefully the races get more entertaining. Who knows?
All right, let's go through some rapid fire, things from your career to kind of close this out. Favorite race?
Oh, I think. Oh man, that's tough. That's so tough.
We
Can I
can
give
come
you
back to it
three?
if you want to think
Can
about
I give
it.
you three?
Yeah, all right.
Sorry,
Top
this isn't
three.
rapid fire. All right. To give you three, I think I would have to go. Um, Man, see, now I'm getting mixed up like by the metrics. Like, how do I? What do I? So like, I think number one is H HYP. This tri meet we had that my sophomore year. We hosted it at our indoor track, and I ran the 1,000, and I beat a guy from Princeton in the 1,000. I ran like 2:23, which is like that was fast for me. It's not great, but I got this guy at the line, and like all the people, all the Harvard people were there. That was awesome. I love that moment. Um, I think number two would be my freshman year in Tallahassee, Florida, for cross country, when we had three All-Americans, myself, Ace Ryerson, and Matthew Pereira. That was awesome, because I was a wide-eyed freshman. I was having everything was just so exciting for me, and to have three All-Americans, that was pretty unreal. Um, and I think maybe my third, I think one more race I would like is sophomore year, also cross country Heps, and it was we didn't win as a team, but it was at Van Cortlandt Park, and it was on like the traditional 8K course with like the back hills,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
Cemetery Hill. I mean, this absolutely insane course. I think you guys might have taken some pretty sweet photos out there. So first of all, like the course was just amazing. Um, and second of all, like Acer and I had to like 1-2 to give the team a shot. And Princeton had some good runners that year, and other teams had good runners, and we were able to pull it off. Acer got the win, and I was like right behind him. Um, and that was such a cool race as well. So yeah, knocked out all my favorite races kind of like in the first half of my career here.
I think you're going to surprise a lot of people by not just picking the easy ones, being like, oh yeah, cross country titles and like the 1303 or last night or anything like that. But it speaks to just sort of like for you, a big part of your Harvard career was the team and the people around you. Most memorable workout.
Oh, I would say most memorable would be freshman year. Oh man, there's a couple actually. Also, they're
All
all
right,
bad
rattle them
ones.
off. You'll get
They're
three. You
they're,
get
they're
three.
all three. Okay, I'll give you three for every question. They're all going to be bad. So like, I don't remember the good workouts as well, because we're good at stacking good workouts. So they just kind of like mesh
There
into
you
each
go.
other. I had one time we were at Chestnut Hill. This was pretty late into the spring. I think a lot of people were actually already gone at this point. We were training for regionals. Uh, and Acer and I were on a super long pace run. Uh, we were probably like assigned like 46 minutes or something, or like something like that. And like I got 40 minutes in, I had to use the restroom so bad that like I just ran off the loop of the lake and just like sprinted. I still have 6 minutes left in this pace run, and I'm like looking for a bathroom. And like one thing about Chestnut Hill Reservoir is there's just no porta potties there anywhere. I'm like running around the BC football stadium, and then eventually I like I'm in this grass, like this little grass like embankment like by the road, and I just stand there, and then I shit myself. I mean, like I couldn't hold it in. That was probably the most demoralizing workout I've ever had, and like had to walk back to the I eventually did find a porta potty and cleaned up, But like had to throw the shorts out in the woods. Like, I mean, just terrible, terrible. Um,
All right, so
Honestly,
that's one. Well, maybe one you didn't shit yourself in.
the other one, I mean, I also had one like freshman year, like where we went to Franklin Park and did like a fartlek, and I like, I was like the hot shot freshman, like just ran like a school record before I got to school in the 5K, and like, this is some long fartlek effort that I thought was going to be super easy, and I went out like super hard on it, and yeah, immediately got dropped by all these like old 10K guys and threw up my breakfast, like, and that was kind of like a real welcome to the NCAA like moment, or like welcome to the 10K moment, because cross country is like a whole different beast. And man, I honestly can't. Those two will probably suffice for most
Yeah.
memorable workouts.
Favorite class you took?
Um, Probably just this class I took my freshman. It's all from freshman and sophomore years. It's all nostalgic.
You peaked in freshman and
Yeah,
sophomore
it's
year.
all nostalgic. Freshman year was fun, man. Uh, I took philosophy 34, uh, existentialism with Professor Sean Kelly, who's a big supporter of our team. Uh, and yeah, that was a great class. It's the reason I decided to kind of like double concentrate with philosophy. Super influential on like how I kind of thought about the world, and kind of like honestly got me through freshman year in a certain way, because it was very hard at times, like very hard transition, and a lot of the stuff I learned in that class kind of helped me out, I feel like.
Um, Side note off of that answer, I remember NCAA cross, Kyle Merber asked the question in the press conference. It's like, oh, how does your major help you when it comes to racing? So it's econ and philosophy for you, right? How do you hope to use when you finish it off your Harvard degree in your first couple of years? Your main job is going to be professional runner, but what are you going to do with your degree?
I don't know, man. I'll figure something out, but there's a lot of stuff I'm interested in, and I do think like economics and philosophy are a good crossroads to thinking about like a lot of things. So um, we'll see. I mean, I have a lot of interests, and I try to be like a Renaissance man. Like I try to like keep myself occupied with a lot of different things. Um, so I'm just gonna go with the flow. That's what your unemployed friend says. I'm just gonna go with the flow, see what comes my way. So, uh, yeah, we'll see. I hope to find something that relates to those two, but that would be pretty unique if I could.
This is going to be a tough one. Favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate?
Yeah.
You're asking me who my favorite teammate is? Uh, I'll say
Or actually, let's do a fun. That'll put you in a hard spot. Uh, you get to assemble. So it's you and then six other guys from your entire 4 years
oh
at
my
Harvard.
God.
Who do you put on your all-star Harvard team to compete? Like, so you get to combine eras.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this by uh like uniqueness, because there is a lot of unique characters on this team. Um, and I think that's something that has changed a little bit with our team, is we've started to recruit people that are more similar. Like we're very performance oriented, like I said, whereas we used to kind of have a lot of like characters. So like I'm throwing like Matthew Pereira and Acer Iverson, who were really good runners, but very unique in their own aspect, both from the Midwest, I guess, but in different ways. Very, very, yeah, very. They're weird in their own ways. And then so that's two. I'll do Luke Laverdiere from Maine. Very, very Harvard guy, very unique. If any of the Harvard people are watching, they know why I picked Luke. Luke was huge Harvard guy. I'm taking Caleb Moore and Will Crisp, and then those two guys, just two peas in a pod, man. They stayed in Boston for a couple of years after graduating, um, and yeah, and then I'll take Ben Hardvixen. I don't really have a way to explain it, but like those guys, just like if I think about it, like those are the guys that make me think of Harvard, and like those are the guys I'm going to think back about after I graduate.
All right. Best advice G has given you. He's the clinical, for people listening who don't know who G is, G is the clinical director of rehab for Harvard sports medicine team. One of the nicest guys. I got to watch the 2023 NCAA cross championship standing right next to him, and we've been bonded ever since. Just an incredible personality. My gave me my own Harvard
Deha,
sweatshirt.
Deha, that's what we
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, my own, which apparently it's not a real thing. Like the Department of Harvard Athletics is not a real thing, right?
I think I don't think it exists anymore. It's just like something we do.
Yeah. All right. So best advice he's ever given you.
He's like a very big Buddhism guy. So like I can't think of anything in for one thing in particular, but he's definitely instilled that Buddha mindset into me, especially when we're on the table and it's like after a long like hard day like of work and like running, like it's always relaxing to talk about whatever topics he wants. He's very literary minded. He helps run like a poem club here at Harvard, like a poetry society. So he actually has his own book of poetry. You should ask him
Let's
ask
get
him
my
to get
hands on
you a
that for
copy.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he definitely has instilled that Buddha mindset into the squad.
All right. Last one, which is interesting because you're still going to be there for the next semester. But biggest thing you'll miss about Harvard?
Um Man, it'll definitely be and these are gone now. So it'll definitely be like the Sunday long run in the falls. Uh, that's the best part about being in Boston. Best part about Harvard is like cross country season, long run in the foliage, and then like coming back to campus and getting food in the D halls. I'm gonna miss that so bad. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do without that because that's like my favorite part of honestly of anything I've done here. So those it's just the little things like that.
There you have it. All right, Graham. Well, I appreciate you jumping on fresh off of that 5K last night. Definitely enjoy the break. Enjoy Georgia football, I guess now being
Yep.
in the playoff. Prediction?
Uh, Georgia will steamroll Indiana or Notre Dame or whatever fraudulent team they match them up against.
All right, there we have it. Well, Graham, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the professional circuit now, and congratulations on everything that you've achieved within the last few years. It's been pretty awesome to witness just sort of like the not just the fitness like you've said and these workouts stacking upon one another, but just like the success as well. So, thanks, Graham.
Yeah, thank you.